It's not working, look. How are we supposed to do anything without it?
Amazon breaks the internet, destroys it for everyone. Slightly dramatic. Well, maybe. Let's talk about it right now.
You're watching The Pairing Mode.
I'm missing my packages.
Well, I don't know that that's actually affected. To be honest with you, I didn't even notice.
Well,
But, you know,
I have had some emails because, I'm part of the Amazon Associate, program.
Yeah.
And I've had emails from them saying, yeah, we understand this happened. This has actually affected, earning reports and some other stuff. And like, yeah, we know about it. And we're going back and we're figuring it all out. And so it affected a lot, but we'll be getting into that here in a minute. And on that note, I am Robert from Nashville, Tennessee.
And I'm Lionel from Toronto, Canada. And you are watching The Pairing Mode. And I hope you enjoyed our brand new intro, by the way. It's
all credit to Lionel.
Hard.
Lionel created that, and I thought it's pretty awesome. So we
both had a little hand in that. I mean, first of all, the original concept of it came from Robert. I gave him an idea of what I wanted to do. You remember, you're the one who actually drew that up.
Our new logo.
You could see it up
true,
here.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So I just thought, the original idea was have an animation. We kind of rushed that one. But I wanted to have something a little bit better. But that said,
and listen, we thank you for the growth we've had. Please, and subscribe. I want to hit that right off the bat.
I'm sorry, hang on. You're absolutely right, and I need.
Yeah,
to check
so we appreciate everybody that's watched and subscribed and liked, and we greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't, we would sure appreciate the support.
I am going to say right now, because I totally didn't realize that. I think hopefully we have the time to throw an edit in here right now, because we actually have hit 100 subscribers.
Yes, and that's milestone.
The confetti falling that we don't see yet. Or maybe it's streamers or whatever, something party.
Champagne toasts with champagne running down.
We are at exactly 100, and anybody who's watching right now and going 100. So what? Mr. Beast has 70 billion. Mr. Beast at one point was probably calling somebody and saying, "Guess what? I just hit my first 100."
Everybody starts at zero.
Marcus Brownlee at some point called somebody and said, "Oh my God, I have 100 followers." Mind you, he was about 14 when that happened, but or 17 or whatever age he was. But that's not the point. The point is we've been working at it, and thank you so much, all of you, especially the ones who are sticking around, because as it turns out, in the last few weeks, we are actually starting to get a stronger audience that are coming back, and it's not all new audience watching.
Yes.
Well, we gain a couple of subscribers. We gained a lot of subscribers in the last few weeks, and a great many of you have continued to come back and watch. Thank you so much for that. And the more this happens, I'm telling you, we'll start thinking more and more about when we're going to start doing live, so you can actually participate, get in the chat, and tell us, ask us questions, and we'll respond.
And I think I want to throw a quick shout too, because I think it has played a part in it, to our sponsor, Chop AI. Their short tool that I use to cut up the long form has been fantastic, and I love using it. It works great. So definitely, there's a link in the description if you want to go check it out. And it's a great software, and it's not expensive, and you can take if you have a podcast, that's kind of what it's geared toward. You can take your podcast, chop it up, and it does the zoom ins, it does the cuts, it does the B-roll, everything. It's awesome.
And we should mention that when we started using Chop AI, not only did we start getting a lot more views on our shorts, but that has actually started to produce more people viewing our long form video, our entire podcast. It also means it's going to be a little easier for us to actually start in the future doing some other videos outside the podcast, and this will just be it will be our flagship program. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Chop AI. As a podcaster, one of the biggest challenges is getting your content discovered. That's where Chop AI comes in. Their powerful AI platform automatically finds the most compelling moments from our show and transforms them into short, shareable clips, perfect for social media. It saves us countless hours of editing and helps us reach new listeners just like you. Ready to grow your brand? Well, visit them at chopai.app to see how it works. There'll be a link in the description. And now, back to the podcast.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to get some more stuff going. So thank you again for that. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon to be notified of new content, especially since in the not too distant future, we will have more than just the podcast. I've got something that I actually wanted to talk to you about off camera, about a project I want to actually throw on here. So
Excellent.
We'll get on to some news. And I guess we'll start
to the
with Google.
news.
I guess we'll start with Google, where everyone starts with Google and frustrates themselves. However, I'm a Google fanboy, but you could call it like it is. Anyways, Google, it says here, announces a new era for voice search. This is an interesting topic in a sense, and I don't understand fully, maybe slightly, the technical aspects of this, but they read this differently. Now, if you want, I will read you a small amount of this, because if you're not really, really, really a tech nerd into this stuff, it will be like I'm talking Turkish or whatever they speak in Turkey to an Italian who's never left the country or gone to school. And they wouldn't be speaking that, right? Or basically almost anybody in North America hearing another language. Because let's face it, we do get a little arrogant like that in our world. Anyways, I did put Canada in that bunch too. Sorry, but we need more culture. Let's face it. Anyways, the what do they call it? So Google announced update voice search. Sorry, I skipped that part. The old system was called Cascade ASR, where a voice query is converted into text and then put through the normal ranking process. Now, we all basically, even if we don't understand it, we have a basic idea of what that means. Voice to text, text to binary, and so on. The new system is called Speech-to-Retrieval, or S2R, the number 2 or digit 2, is a neural network-based machine learning model trained on large data sets of paired audio queries and documents. This training enables it to process, depending on how you want to pronounce it, data or data, right? Spoken search queries without converting them into text and match them directly to relevant documents. Now, the interesting thing is basically what it's saying is it's kind of like how Gemini Live works, except with audio instead of video. So it is visualizing what it is hearing. In other words, if I say to you, I'm going to go get the car keys and drive to the store, you don't have to think about what I'm doing to understand what I'm saying. In your mind, there's just a quick visualization. You don't even think about it. A quick visualization of me putting the key in the ignition and driving to the store. You visualize the store because I told you which one I'm going to, and you know where it is. This is what it's basically doing, and the more knowledge it has, the more it can do it. So when I want to search for Walmart closest to the corner of whatever street and what's it called, Avenue, instead of it trying to find it on the map, like the current system would do by converting into text, right? And this is for voice search. Just to be clear, we're talking about voice search, not text to something else, but voice to
right.
What this is. So when it hears it, in much the same as when you talk to Gemini or whatever AI, it's going to actually hear the context of what you're saying and visualize the information it already knows. So it now understands that there is a gas station across the street and there's a place to make keys in the mall next there. So, yeah, that's where the Walmart is, or whatever store you're asking about, right? Or restaurant or whatever. And so it's able to give you this information. Now, obviously, they did mention that there's going to be mistakes.
Sure.
It's early, but it's also live. And apparently it's operating right now as we speak. And I haven't tested it yet because I only asked Gemini at this point or the AI search itself. So in regular search, supposedly this is the case. So it should return, if it doesn't mess up, better results. But I've yet to test it. Now I'm a little curious. I'm not going to lie to you. Water bottles at Walmart.
That's so
It did
random.
say it was fast. By the way, it said it was faster. And it's hard to tell because it's usually not a slow process with Google anyways.
Right. Yeah.
But I
Just
got to admit,
microseconds.
this instantaneously not only gave me the first major link, which is water bottles, Walmart, and the Walmart link, beverages, storage containers, but the first 5 links on top with the pictures that it now generates. It's been doing this for quite some time, obviously, where it generates actual links of an actual specific product that you can scroll through and decide whether you want to click on one of them. So I don't know that it's quicker yet.
You probably have to have some more complex query to really know about its speed, because that's pretty basic. But
I would think. I wonder how it would. Okay, let's try something interesting.
oh no,
Nashville Predators record.
Oh my God. Shit.
Oh,
That's all
it's
I need.
talking
One
to
word.
me. It's talking to me. I've never seen Google search do that.
Oh.
It wasn't Gemini, I can tell you that much, though. That sounded way too much like that stupid assistant voice. And
I've been having some
showing
weird stuff going
It
on
is
in
showing
my
them at
house.
the top of the division, the Preds.
Flip your screen's upside down.
Oh, sorry. I did. There it is. Okay.
Yeah, because that's not the case.
They're only one game under 500, technically. So I don't
Under
know.
500. That's nowhere near the top of.
Yeah, but
We got
it's only
embarrassed at
70
home
they've only
again
played
last
7
night by the
games.
Ducks. We got our ass kicked
Okay.
by the Ducks last night at home.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Pathetic.
All right, I'm going to turn that window off, and we'll move off of that. Sorry, I just banged the table and shook the camera.
Okay, so
Okay,
that's.
so I guess
I
there's
mean,
enough
that's
of that one.
I think this whole, which we're going to get into something here in a minute, but Google has already been integrating their Gemini into their Chrome, and so it's stuff like this is just going to be more and more common. And there's some stuff, I have some really cool information which we'll get to here, like I say, in a minute, but I think it's I think it's nice. It makes it convenient to do certain things, and especially when you're dealing with search where you want to make sure you have the relative information. I've been seeing one thing too. This is more of a peeve, and I just thought about it because I keep seeing these like ads about Perplexity. They have their own browser now, the Comet, and so they've been like pushing this Comet browser and about how Perplexity has been so awesome. And I saw one person, it might have been a user generated content ad or something. It was going aboard, and he said, and Google can't search, live internet, or maybe it was ChatGPT. I'm like, that's not true. That's a complete lie. Both obviously Gemini and ChatGPT can do live internet searches for live information.
Sometimes they claim they can't, but they can.
Right. But his whole claim was like, no, they don't. Perplexity does. And I'm like, that's a lie. I mean, come on, people. I don't mind, push Perplexity. It's a great agent. I don't particularly use it or care for it. I like ChatGPT because the memory feature to me is paramount.
Yeah.
And the comment browser is just, okay, it's basically Chromium just worked over by Perplexity, to make comment. And it's okay. I mean, it functions fine. It's a good browser and it has built-in features with their agent, their, where you can chat with the Perplexity, whatever they call it, But at any rate, so yeah, this kind of search thing integration, it's just going to get more and more and more. And I like it. I think it's a good thing. I think it's going to make things easier. And I'm kind of actually looking forward to having some of that integration and seamless functionality.
Yeah.
So,
well, me too, to a certain point. I definitely don't think that it's good because some people are already, saying, like the death of Chrome and all. Like, well, first of all, you got AI in Chrome, but Google's never going to be stupid enough to actually take away your ability to browse the internet, right? At some point, some of these AI browsers are going to come out and force you to have to query everything you want to see. I don't necessarily want that. Sometimes I'm on a computer and I'm literally just clicking from link to link to link to link because I feel like it. Why not?
Sure.
Yeah. That's what the internet was built on, right? You don't just necessarily have to. It's not like the original, like, oh, it's going to make sending an email joke from 1993, but we won't go there, right? Or sending a document to somebody in 1983.
Yeah.
And when I say document, I mean like several lines of text. Considering document, there was. Okay, I'm going off the topic. Let's get back onto it. So moving on,
moving
further into it.
Well, yeah, right. So moving into some GPT.
Some jazz.
Some Chat GPT. Some Chat GPT news. Walmart has just recently gone into an agreement with or partnership with OpenAI, integrating Chat GPT into their whole process. Now, think about that. Like, if you have and what I'm going to show you next is going to make this look like, it's going to be like bonkers, but
yeah, well,
it's going to change. That's going to like change everything when it comes to online shopping, in my opinion. I mean, obviously it's not there yet. They're just now announced that they haven't done all this integration. But they talk about, like he says, the author says that he compares this moment to the rise of e-commerce 25 years ago. It's another whole paradigm shift in how we do things. And, all these revolutions, the industrial revolution, right? We are now in an AI revolution and it's changing everything. Like this, everything. I don't, looking down the road, of course, I don't know because I'm not that smart, but I don't know that within the next 100 years, you're going to have something as monumental as what this shift is right now that we're, and we're literally in the infancy of it.
I'm going to disagree with that only because every 75 or so years, somebody says that same thing. Oh, nobody's going to be able to come up with something like what this is, being able to build all these cars that fast. Nobody's going to be able to do this again. This having a radio without having to use a battery. And yes, by the way, that was the opposite way. You had to use a battery originally with a radio. You couldn't plug it into a wall. I know that sounds completely opposite.
I remember those days.
But that is actually true. Well, you don't remember. Neither one of us was alive when that was true.
I've seen. Well, you're talking. Okay, I know what you're talking about. So yeah, I haven't seen those yet. I know what you're talking about.
Listen, I just briefly. You know who actually invented the actual tube that allowed you to be able to plug
Thomas Edison? He seemed to invent everything that deals with.
No, it was actually, and I don't remember his first name. It was Rogers, the guy who started Rogers Wireless in Canada. A Canadian. Sorry. So all of your
He was probably
radios
reading
that
a
you
book
have
from
to
the
plug
United
into the
States.
wall are because of Rogers. Something to brag about. But anyways, one of these days, maybe we'll actually talk about on here why old tech and why it was so important. We should do that one day. Old tech, why it was so important, why it was so big. Let's make a note of that. Do it some other time. Where were we going?
It's well, I'm just saying that this shift we're having right now.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, and like I said, I'm not that smart. It could be in 25 years we're going to have another shift, but I really think that we're just in the beginning stages of this whole AI movement, I'll call it. It's been out for a while, yes, I know, but it's had to get to a point where now it's starting to really take hold. Yeah,
we're not infants anymore. Right now, we're at the terrible twos.
Yeah,
it's very temperamental. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. A lot of times where you tell it to do something and it basically goes no, just like a 2-year-old would.
Yeah.
Right? It throws this ice cream back at your face, mashed potatoes, vomits on your shoulder, whatever. People say, no, 2-year-olds don't do that. Newborns do. Well,
okay.
If you don't have a 2-year-old, then you don't know.
Right.
Yes, 2-year-olds are capable of vomiting on your shoulder.
Yes.
It usually has to do with too much Halloween candy, but other than that,
right. But you're right. We are definitely in that kind of stage. And so we still have a long way to go before this kind of plays. I'm not going to say plays itself out because it's not going to play out, but before all these real deep integrations. And look, for you guys out there who think AI is going to take over and the robots are going to take over, go watch some videos on YouTube about the current state of robotics. Now, they're impressive, but they're nowhere near to the point where they're going to take over the world. Okay, it's because it's pretty hilarious.
It has to be sentient. It has to achieve sentience. The thing is I don't think anyone alive today has to worry about it. But I'm not saying it's not going to be a problem right down the line.
But you're going to have a robot that's going to need a longer than 6-hour battery that you're going to have to manually swap out. Okay.
Well, it's not about the robots. It's about the AI, period.
Sure.
But here's the thing, and I've said this before on a previous like way back in the day when we had a different name for the program. And I mentioned if we used Asimov's rules, I was going to say rules of acquisition. Sorry, he's not a Ferengi. And off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly how the rule line goes. But if you use the rule for that and you switch it out for AI, and then you actually hard code that in, not just as a rule, because it could technically be overwritten by an AI that would be self-sufficient, saying, I'm not going to follow that rule. But if the rule is hard-coded at the end of any and all instructions, regardless of how benign or serious that instruction is, how important or not important that instruction is, whether it's a question or a statement or anything else, it has to be there, and it has to be at the very end of it every time. That way, no matter what they do, anything that the AI considers doing is overridden automatically by those rules.
Yeah.
Which would mean it cannot do harm. So in other words, if somebody wanted to shut the AI down and the AI starts thinking, maybe I should start sending letters to the wife claiming that the man is having an affair, and then blackmail him, because apparently there's a video claiming that kind of shit happened. However, he didn't cite the sources, so I don't even believe it, to be honest with you. But
right, yeah,
but hypothetically, let's say it could happen, and if it starts to get even remotely close to sentience, it's possible. It doesn't have to be sentient for that to happen. That's a mimicking sentience. There's a huge difference, but mimicking sentience is probably more dangerous than being sentient. And that's because if you can end up with that dangerous behavior before or prior to becoming sentient, then that behavior goes into sentience. It's kind of like nature versus nurture. You learn to be a piece of crap, and then you suddenly become alive, you're going to continue to be a piece of crap, right?
Yeah.
Right. So,
well, like you said, though, we're not going to be alive when all this takes place. So
most likely not. Most likely not.
It's not going to. I mean, it's moving fast. There's no doubt. And I'm not. I definitely don't have the knowledge or skill set to predict how fast it's moving. But there's a lot that's going to have to happen before it even gets close to that.
Yeah, and a good example of how AI is nowhere near ready for prime time as sentient beings per se is the news from, I think it was last week. One of those autonomous cars, I'm not sure which city because it's in a few cities now, got pulled over by a cop for an illegal U-turn who was for some reason
it was in Arizona.
shocked that there was no driver in an obviously autonomous car because they look almost like Google's map cars.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so
There's
dead
sensors
obvious.
everywhere.
You can see them a mile away.
Yeah.
And in any case, he's like, what do I do? Like, how do I write the ticket? Why did you even stop it then? You have no clue what you can do with this. And okay, so the AI simply needs to be written. Now there is another solution to it. The autonomous car company, what was it, Google's or somebody else's? I don't know who that
Waymo,
runs
I
it.
think it was.
Waymo, yeah. They simply need to basically put a simple law in the books, and it can be done locally or statewide. It doesn't really make any difference, and they could pass it in a matter of minutes. In reality, that is a police officer wouldn't try to stop the car in any way, shape, or form. They would simply record the event, as long as they have a legit dash cam seeing the infraction, then the ticket is written to Waymo. Waymo pays it. But in order to deter it from happening, to make sure that they reprogram the cars to operate properly, the ticket should be about 10 times higher than you or me would pay. Because it's a major company, right?
Yeah.
And if you think about it, if it's willing to do an illegal U-turn, it may fail to stop in front of somebody riding a bike.
You got to wonder. Do you think that the computer on board passed its exit and went, oh shit, like most humans?
I'm gonna back up and go back to the on ramp.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna go the wrong
one.
way on the on ramp because I want to take that exit next.
Gosh. But yeah, so at any rate, I think that this right here with Walmart is going to be. It's still obviously they just announced it. I'll be interested in watching this kind of play out and how this works.
Yeah,
but this allows me to segue into this other part of the news, which I think is even more important than this, is the fact that Google has released their own. Excuse me. OpenAI has released their own browser called ChatGPT Atlas. And I was going to say, to compete with Google is kind of where I had started with Google.
And I have a feeling they won't have to worry about competing with Perplexity's browser. I'm pretty sure they're going to win that race.
Yeah. I've used Perplexity, and it's not bad. But again, so here's the thing.
ChatGPT has users already.
Well, so does Perplexity, but
not like ChatGPT.
Here's the difference. I can't test it because for whatever reason on God's green earth, they decided they wanted to only allow people with Mac OS, the smallest, well, probably not the smallest. Linux is probably smallest, but the second smallest subset by a country mile of users, to allow them to actually have the browser. That being said, I'm not hostile about it, even though I want to use it really bad right now.
That is the first time that I've ever heard by a country mile spoken by somebody from as far south as you live. Because I usually picture somebody from Alabama or Tennessee saying it. So there you go.
There you go.
That's off my bucket list. I'm kidding.
I've always wanted to say that, but no. But seriously, so I watched one of the podcasts I watched. We've actually had some of his videos on here before. It's Matt Wolf. He does nothing but AI. Has a fantastic podcast channel, YouTube channel about AI. But he has a Mac, so he did this full demonstration. It was like 30, 40-minute video. It was really, really cool. And the fact how they have ChatGPT built into the browser, it's basically Chromium. Keep in mind that all these things, Chrome is Chromium. You have Brave,
Edge.
it's not here, it's Chromium. You have Perplexity,
Edge.
Chromium.
Edge.
I'm not even talking about Edge. It's still garbage. But no,
It's still
seriously,
Chromium.
Yeah, it is Chromium, yes. So Edge is now Chromium because Microsoft said if I can't beat them, I might as well join them. So they rebranded and rebuilt their Edge to Chromium. And it does work a lot better. But all these browsers basically use Chromium because Chromium is open source. It's very easy to use, to control, to manipulate, to secure, and it functions very well. So that's fine. But the way they have the ChatGPT built into it, it opens up like a sidebar. You could literally have half your screen, your chat, and half your screen window or the browser side of it. And you can still just go to websites and do your clicking like you were talking about, right? Yeah. But you could also then have the ChatGPT, and here's a kicker, agent do things for you. Like actually control and manipulate your browser. Like you could say, like he did a demonstration on screen about how he just said, hey, go find me, go to Amazon and I need to find some toilet paper. And you saw the mouse moving, it clicked the buttons, it loaded Amazon, it did some searching, it found some toilet paper. And then, you know how Amazon has the, if you subscribe and save or add to cart, sometimes there's two different buttons. It had a hard time finding the add to cart button. So because it said subscribe and save and it didn't want to subscribe. So it went to a different toilet paper where it had the add to cart button. It added it to cart. Yeah. And it left it there for him to approve the purchase. It doesn't automatically do the purchase for you yet. But see, this is where I think this Walmart situation comes in. Like you're going to have this seamless capability of like plugging in certain information and it's just going to be able to do it for you. But the way he was demonstrating, I'm just like, wow, that is
just
awesome.
To be clear, they're not the only ones, nor technically are they the first ones. They're the first ones to release it publicly in that sense, right, as an agent. Google made this announcement actually a couple of weeks ago, or at least over a week ago, introducing Gemini 2.5 computer use model. I think I tried to bring this up last week and couldn't remember what exactly it was.
Yeah, you did.
Where to find it. But unfortunately, it's available in preview via the API, blah, 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 blah. In other words, you can't just go and, I'm going to throw this on right now and use it in Chrome. But this is obviously something that's going to come to regular users. Well, at least paid ones probably first, and then eventually it'll go down to free, probably with limitations. But it's exactly the same thing you're talking about. The biggest difference is that this is Gemini 2.5 computer use, meaning you can get it to do other things too. If it's on your computer and it's not something that's locked and it has access to and can be given permission, if not not right away, eventually it will be opened up to just about anything. Much the same as Gemini is gaining more and more control over what it is allowed to do with your permission on your phone right now. Yeah. Well, if you have a Pixel phone or or Samsung, for instance, you can do a little bit more. Other phones will eventually open up to Gemini a little bit more too, because that's something a lot of people always say, oh, well, if you have Gemini, only a Pixel can you control this and that and everything else. The whole idea behind it is that they want it to be like an agent and be able to operate more and more things for you.
Right.
And they're going this direction. I think the thing about ChatGPT here is that they've got a good leg up. They've put their foot in the door and slammed their entire lower half through the door so they can at least plant their feet on the floor in the living room of this particular building right now.
Well, and you
Gemini,
are correct.
on the other hand, is coming down through the ceiling saying
Yeah.
we're going to destroy you later, but for now we're going to let you
Yeah. Well, and you are correct. Currently, this is only available for one on Mac OS, and it is only available
that's
to
the
the paid
sucky part.
plans. So you have to be on a paid plan. It is included in the $20 a month plan, which is cool, and on Mac OS. But watching the demo of it I was like, that's awesome, and I can't wait to be able to try it out because it's going to destroy Perplexity. Because again, it has memory in the browser from your phone. Like, so all your chats are all integrated. So it has like, it'll have all the memories of what you ordered, how you ordered it, what you did. And here's one thing that he made a point of. He goes, obviously me ordering toilet paper on Amazon, this was way longer than me just going to Amazon, clicking the button and buying it. He's like, but here's the advantage is like, let's forget ordering toilet paper. What if you had 10 web-based, to-dos that you had to get done that you could assign an agent to go do that for you? You could open up 10 different tabs in your browser, assign each agent to do something different while you go do the 11th thing or whatever the case may be. And so you can basically have 10 workers working feverishly without pay and without getting tired, to accomplish your tasks. And that right there could be a huge game changer for productivity for people who are in that type of, role or whatever.
Yeah, no,
that's huge.
I can get an agent that would need to come in and rearrange my little studio space every time I need to put it a certain way, Oh wait, that would be one of the robots. I was going to say
that's going to be a robot. They do have one that can do dishes and laundry. I think I've seen some videos.
Of course.
But
Why not? They also have some that do some other things that we're not allowed to talk about here right now. But all right, that was a bad joke. Anywho. Well, hey, were you expecting anything better?
Well, but to that point though, I saw this again today on one of the podcasts I was watching where I forget what country it is. It's like a Nigeria or something it's like one of these African countries that like they're short staffed on teachers. They have these really far rural out of the way places for education, and it's a problem. And they're testing out robotic teachers that teach in class, and they can teach anywhere from preschool up into like early college. So like it's all in one, and they're like, it actually does a really good job. And you could deploy these out into schools and not have to worry about, hey, I need a teacher.
I'm going to say that while they may be saying they do a really good job, a lot of people say there's certain teachers that are really good teachers who for years have taught some things incorrectly.
Sure.
Humans
100%.
make mistakes. And because of that, programmers make mistakes. And because
100%.
of that, AI is going to make mistakes. 100%.
Yeah. I think you're going to need to have, I think it's good stopgap. And I think as long as they have some type of human oversight for like the information you're feeding it, so to speak.
You see, I wanted to give you an interesting example. A little earlier today, after I got home from work, I was just having something to eat, and I was watching some YouTube videos, and something popped up in front of me, and it was interesting because it was, and I don't even know why it came up, to be honest with you, but it was, what is it called, that show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? But it was Whiz Kids Week from like 7 years ago or something. Some 13 or 14-year-old kid apparently almost won $1 million. And one of the questions that they asked had something to do with, this is the only two countries that don't border each other. And they mentioned a bunch. And I wasn't thinking straight. And I ended up guessing Niger and Nigeria, which do border each other quite significantly, I might add. And I knew that, but for some reason, I was thinking that. So I pulled out Gemini Live with camera feed, pointed it at the TV with it paused, and I said, this is what I would have guessed. Am I right? Gemini's, oh, you're spot on, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I have a feeling Gemini's wrong. I played it, and the kid was right. And of course, it was what was it, Uruguay and Paraguay, which don't border each other. Which was the question was which two countries do not border each other, and they very clearly do not. And I knew that, right? So it was kind of weird that I didn't think of it, which is one reason why I asked Gemini, because I wanted to know if I was right before the kid answered. And if I'd answered that like that, I would have been wrong, right? So when he answered, I was like, oh my God, that is right. And so I went back to Gemini and I explained this situation to Gemini, because of course it doesn't have memory in Gemini Live, as mentioned before that ChatGPT does.
Google.
If you're listening, Google, we're getting more and more subscribers. Start paying attention. Anyways, so yeah, and it's like, well, no, first it repeated the wrong answer again and said that was it. I said no, and he goes, I am so sorry. You are right to call me out on that. and
see,
so, yeah. Mistakes are going to be made. Unfortunately, more than I'd like to see right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they definitely need to correct or I should say, they need to have a much better handle on the hallucinations that AI has before they just let it roam free 100%. And that's what I'm saying. And then we started in the beginning of this.
Yeah.
If anybody's scared about robots taking over, it's a long, long ways away. Okay?
Well, actually, it would be worse if they took over now than later, because stupid people running an army. Well, we already know what that looks like.
Yeah.
But anyways, that said, maybe you could explain briefly, what do you mean by hallucinations? Because there's going to be people, possibly even me, that don't understand. I mean, I get it, but yet I don't know why they're calling it hallucinations. That's so, a pretty broad, not broad. It's a pretty tight term.
Yeah, I had that same question, and so I looked it up and I researched it and kind of got a better understanding. So a hallucination is basically where AI starts making shit up, where it doesn't exist, or it doesn't happen, or it doesn't work this way, because it gets along this line of thinking, and then it starts veering off, and it starts like creating its own reality. So it's a hallucination.
And I wonder too if it might sometimes have something to do with it starting to go along with what it thinks you want to hear.
I don't know so much about that. It just possible. It thinks it could do things that it can't. And so like ChatGPT 5, it reduced the hallucinations from 4 by 75%, or maybe not 75%. It was a huge reduction. I forget the numbers that Altman talked about, because I watched the podcast where he was talking about the specific.
Do that now too, and I think we're going to be looking at that in December. That's something else we should mention later. I totally forgot about it.
Oh yeah. That's rumored to be out.
No, it's not rumored.
Not to be out.
I think they basically all but confirmed it. I think it's more than a rumor, less than a fact. If that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, because I read something else. They say, it's still going to be first quarter, but I've been seeing a lot too. It's like by the end of the year.
But you know what? The thing is, if you remember, it's pretty much always at the end of the year. And then by the beginning of the first quarter is when we see an incremental jump that actually repairs all the crap that they put in the first version.
Well, we might as well just kind of throw this in here because it kind of relates.
Well, we're talking about it now, yeah.
Yes, yeah, we're talking about that Google is on the cusp of releasing their 3.0 model, which is supposed to be
a massive update, by the way.
Yeah, it's not just a half number increment. It's huge, kind of like how Veo.
In all fairness, 2.5 was a major upgrade. Over 2.
Yes.
Right. But this is supposed to be something bigger than that.
Yes.
Now, a lot of the things you're going to hear about as it gets closer to that, or once it happens, is going to be about all of the coding stuff and the possibilities with what it can do and the agent stuff. I honestly want to know how much smarter is the everyday use of Gemini for the average person going to be? how much better is that going to be for you, me, and everyone else who isn't trying to build a new spaceship that can, get to Mars in 15 minutes flat? I wanted,
Well, I'm going to say this. If they do not implement a memory feature to compete with ChatGPT, they're going to be on their back foot, and they're not going to be able to catch up.
Yes, no, they won't. They won't be able to, because first of all, people should get fired. I hate that. I don't normally like to say things like that, but in all honesty, if you're making $185,000 a year and you get fired, boo-hoo. Okay. It's not like someone who's making $50,000-$60,000 a year, it's still paying mortgage for the next 15 years and has 4 kids.
Well, but it's not even about the individual. It's about the company
I'm rambling.
Billions of dollars. There's no reason why they couldn't have, caught up to ChatGPT in this particular. Hell, they have more data
than a memory function. They're just refusing to add it to, and they promised that they would. Yeah. This should have been done months ago, and for some reason, and it's where it should have been if they wanted to wait and bake it in later. 2.5 should have been it. But that's now old. We're already on the cusp of 3, and we still don't see this memory function in live. And here's where I think it's coming into play. I believe they decided they're going to wait until the whole shebang happens with all the new Google stuff everywhere, the Google Homes, Android Auto, the whole bit. Because if they don't implement a memory function when every single one of these items, under a paid subscription, by the way, will have live functionality, all of them, including your TV. What the hell is the point of that with no memory function?
Yeah. That's going to be so fragmented, it's going to be insane.
It's going to be stupid, because now all of a sudden, all of your damn equipment's going to try answering you at the same damn time. We've already been there before. We know what that's like. But if you have a memory, and that's the other thing too, Google, for Christ's sake, if you have 5 things in the same room, and I mean, for God's sake, Philips can make their lights, the old ones that you've had for years, actually, with a software update only, you'd be used to detect your very presence in the room. Isn't that crazy? So if they can do that, why the hell can't you do that with that type of thing in a different sense with your home devices and your TV and everything? So when you say, hey, you know who, you can, first of all, you should be able to specify. If I'm in the room with another of my devices with this technology, this is the one I want to answer. If this one doesn't answer, then the next one in line should be this one. You should be able to do that. That's a line of code an idiot, and I don't mean to be rude, but literally an idiot could write that line of code into it.
You would think it would be pretty simple. Like, I've been having some really weird issues with my Google stuff right now. Because, obviously I have, Gemini as my default assistant on my phone.
Of course.
And I turn off the ability for it to answer on a locked screen, because it creates way too much confusion in my house. So I turn it off. Well, it is off, but it keeps answering. Like the other day, I told who to turn on some lights, and it took a minute, and then all of a sudden I hear my pocket talking to me. I'm like, no. I was like, why are you answering? You were in my pocket, locked. Why are you turning the lights on? I got a hub that's sitting right here on the counter that I'm talking to.
Yeah.
That went bloop. And so it's listening, but you decided to override it, and it's been causing all kinds of weird issues. So when
you're at home, if you have a registered home device that can hear your command, your wake word, then your phone should automatically shut the
but it's off. I went in there, confirmed. I'm like, yes, I have the setting of allow it on locked screen off. Why is it answering?
Yeah.
It's really irritating me. But I know they're doing all this update. I'm
pretty
sure this.
mine is off. Let me just see something. Yeah, it didn't come on. So, but guess what? I have it on my watch. I leave it on my watch. Why? Because my watch 99% of the time will override everything else just because it's right here. And it knows I'm wearing it, so it responds. And it responds much faster.
Yeah.
And it gets everything right. So when I come home, I just say, hey, you know who, I'm home. And sometimes I forget it's because of the watch. I'm thinking, wait a minute, I have 2 other phones. They're dead. I've got 2 homes, and both of them have the mics muted because I can't stand Assistant. My TV is not capable because I didn't set it up. It tries to answer, but I refuse to set it up because it's, again, Assistant, not
right.
Gemini. I just bought it recently. That's why it's never been set up. So I'm waiting for Gemini to update to it. I've never turned it on the Google TV streamer. Again, because it still has Assistant. When it's updated to Gemini, I would consider it.
Yeah.
But I also think that maybe the whole Gemini 3.0 thing might actually, and this might be why they're doing all this, is because they want to make sure there's a lot of rollout. So I think we're not only going to see the 3.0 thing, and that early January to mid-January, 0.1 or 0.2 update. I think over the first couple of months, we're going to see 4 or 5 0.1 updates.
Yeah.
They're not going to seem like much, but they're going to be actually hugely beneficial because each one will either fix a bug or add a feature. And
I'll be really curious to see.
Because they have to deprecate, because that's why I just want to say, they have to deprecate Assistant entirely. In order for you to get a seamless system, every single device on your home, Google Home system, has to have 0 Google Assistant.
Yeah.
Because it interferes. Sorry.
So that way, when you ask it where is Assistant, it'll say, she's dead. No longer to speak again.
Hey, wait. Hey, you know who? Can I talk to Assistant? I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that.
Yes. Well, what I'm really curious about too is if they're going to integrate Gemini, Nano Banana, Veo, all under one umbrella. Again, like ChatGPT has with 5, you can generate images, you can generate video, you can do all within one chat window.
Well,
so
yes, you can right now.
Veo is not. You can't talk to Gemini and tell it to make you a Veo video.
Yes, you can.
Where?
Wait a minute. Oh, no, you do have to hit the button. No, you're right. Yeah, you have to hit the button.
Yes. And same with Nano Banana.
Garbage.
If you want a Nano Banana image, you got to hit the Nano Banana in Gemini.
Yeah,
so
well, no,
hopefully,
that part's not that. Hang on, that part's not true. You can just ask Gemini to make a picture. When they first put Nano Banana on, you did have to do that. But as of last week, when you do it, it's automatically Nano Banana.
Oh, okay. Well, that's smart. That's the way it should be. So, yeah, I mean, it's because, I mean, you should have all these things as you're getting further and further through your rollout stuff. Like, well,
Nano Banana is being baked into almost everything on the internet right now. But the interesting thing is that's their plan to bake it into almost everything on your phone too.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to do it from anywhere. I think the next thing coming up, and it should be soon actually. You'll be able to do Nano Banana pictures or edits, whatever the hell it is you're going to do with it, from Messenger. So you won't even have to do it elsewhere and then send it in.
Yeah, I've got some new features that have come up in my
your mom. Yeah,
Google Photos.
Be texting your mom and then just say, "All right, make a new picture of my mom with Santa Claus under the mistletoe and send it to her."
Yeah, I'm really hoping it's all integrated.
Sorry, I apologize. Too early to even mention Christmas. Sorry about that.
Hello? Hello?
Are you frozen?
Oh.
You're not moving.
Well, it looks like we
What the
have
hell's
lost
happening?
Lionel. See, that's
Uh-oh.
what happens when he starts talking about
Or maybe
Christmas.
it's just me on my end frozen.
Let's give him a minute here and see if he's going
This
to be
is
able to
not
make it
happening.
back. And maybe we might just be wrapping this up. Oh, now he's really gone. Maybe he's reloading and coming back in. Yeah, you know what? I bet he didn't charge his phone again. There he is.
What the heck just happened?
I don't know. It said too early. It's because you're talking about Christmas.
I was apologizing for that, and apparently that was a huge mistake. Let's just not even say that word, man. We haven't hit Halloween yet. The gods are angry with me. I cannot believe that just happened. You know, we've gone a long time. I'm sorry, we have to make a quick jump, a time jump here. We're going to edit some of that out. So if you're wondering what the hell we were talking about, maybe we'll show you an outtake at the end. Stick around and see if that happens. That said, our the big thing that we didn't mention yet, AWS. For those of you who don't know, that's all-wheeled. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
The big internet outages. You know, your favorite gaming sites, PlayStation Network, Amazon itself, literally Amazon itself. Huge issues. Somebody dropped the ball somewhere. Close a window there. How did it go? I'm going to read this from a summary I've managed to get Gemini to put, because I'm not even sure how to put it out there. The root cause of the recent AWS outage. Can you tell what AWS stands for? What, Robert?
Amazon Web Services.
Web services, yes. If people who don't know, Amazon has so many servers and what's the word I'm looking for?
Data centers.
Not just data centers. They've actually laid the pipeline between data centers and between ISPs. They put so much money into this stuff because they want it to run perfectly.
Sure.
So when the data centers go out, it's not always just that. Sometimes the traffic just slows to a crawl completely in the entire pipeline along certain stretches. So I may be trying to get to a site somewhere between Toronto and Los Angeles, and if there's a slowdown in the middle, it can't even reroute the other way and go faster because it's just messed up. So anyways, it says here, the root cause of the recent AWS outage on October 20th, 2025. And if you try to get on the internet at any point, use a, depending on where you are, use a bank, PlayStation, or whatever, you probably saw slow traffic or failed to load sites.
Oh, it took out a lot of our support tools at work.
Oh, no doubt. Anyways, was a DNS resolution error affecting the DynamoDB API endpoint in the U.S. East 1 region, which happens to be, what was it, Virginia?
Virginia. It's Virginia.
It's Virginia, okay. The issue triggered a cascade of failures across other AWS services and thousands of applications worldwide. Now, I just want to mention before I go on with more of that, is when they say a cascade, a lot of people think of dominoes. Not quite. It's not like one fails and then they just start falling down quite like that. That's not a bad analogy. But if anybody's ever watched any of the documentaries or news programs or whatever about what happened during that big blackout in, I'm not sure what year it was, the big one in the East that affected New York, New Jersey,
Detroit,
Michigan, Ontario, Quebec, like tens of millions way tens of millions.
Yeah, we're in the
some
dark.
cases, like New York and Toronto, were without power for some people up 4 or 5 days.
Yeah,
Some places had
it was
the power
nuts.
back on hours later, but for Toronto, New York, it was days. Obviously, there was rampant crime during that time. But what happened was, it's gonna veer slightly, but I just want to explain how it happens in power, so you can see why the analogy works really well here, or what the similarities rather is. When you have the power lines, and it's weird. I wish I could show you the cable. You know what? I can probably show you with this cable between two power lines. It's or like along the highway kind of thing, right? They look like this, but then when the lines get hot, not because of weather, although that can contribute, but high loads, it starts to sag. That's what happens when a lot of electricity goes through. It will sag. There's a tree, that's gone, right? Normally, they bypass. They send somebody else out to fix it. They turn it back on. But if it doesn't get notified, then that bypass goes anyways automatically to another one, which now overloads, sags into another tree, and it continues. And it continues and continues. If you think of that sagging instead of a mistake being made during an update or changing over a service or something like that, it can create a DNS error. And for some reason, I'm trying to remember exactly how to explain DNS again. Domain, please say it.
It's domain name services. It basically turns names into numbers because,
Yes.
Amazon.com doesn't technically exist. It's 216.65, whatever it is. So
Yeah,
but you have
exactly.
to have a naming convention to flip flop it from name
Yeah.
to number.
Now, if you don't, if it can't figure that out, then it
doesn't know where to
basically
go.
can't deliver it, right? Normally, you would just get a bounce back, and you'd get an error message, some form of error message on your computer. But
That
if
famous
it doesn't even know
404 you
where the
guys
hell,
see all the time.
yeah, exactly. Now, if and the interesting thing is when you get a really bad error where it doesn't know what the hell to do, it doesn't even know how to bounce back properly, or it gets bounced back to itself, which is horrible because it doesn't know what to do. Now, if everyone's trying to go there, or not everyone, but a bunch of people, and it's all doing that, it can't even. And the problem is that obviously AWS has backup servers on backup servers on backup servers on backup servers because it's important stuff. So they start to fail because now they're all overloaded, very similar to how that wire suddenly hits. And eventually it shocks the system into a failure. I know it's not super accurate, but I just find that it's a really good analogy because what happens is at that point is unlike dominoes, which just go down in a line, this is more accurate in its analogy because what happens is the next trunk line has to take over where this one fails. But now this is overloaded and it's got 5 times, not twice, 5 times, because it was already taking over from this failed line and this failed line. And it's very similar to how when that happens with AWS. So their entire data center goes down. And now this one's trying to take up the slack. It can't. So it goes down. And all of these networks and everyone at home is still going like this because they don't know why it's not working.
Right.
And the weird thing about it is you close your browser and you do it again, you're actually contributing to the problem. And it's innocent enough.
The biggest problem I think with this was unfortunately Virginia is their most concentrated set of data centers in the country. So when it happened there, it took out a huge subset of their data centers in one foul swoop.
Yes.
So I think that contributed more so than just that. Otherwise, I think it could have probably done enough redirection to not completely fail.
Well, yeah, if it had happened in Bismarck, North Dakota, or is that South Dakota? Whatever.
They got them all over, but yeah.
But if
That's
it
one
happened
small
in a place
data
like that,
center.
yeah, exactly, right. But it happens at the biggest one, right? So inevitably that's going to cause it. Again, another reason why I use the analogy with that, because it may not have been the absolute biggest power center, but it was also the emergence of where the entire grid goes through, because New York itself does not get power directly from New York, right? They get a lot of their power from elsewhere, including Ohio, right?
Yeah.
And also Quebec and Ontario. So that's why that grid is super connected. They've got fail safes in there now. That can't happen anymore. If that kind of thing happens now, every other one cuts them off. So Cincinnati gets to black out and nobody else does, right?
Yeah.
Which is bad for whatever city ends up with it, but it's not going to black out everybody anymore. And
Yeah,
hopefully
which, I mean,
they
it
learn
just,
from this, and they can hopefully do the same thing.
yeah, I mean, to some degree, but I think
Yeah.
that it's probably not as simple to create the fail safe with this type of
No,
thing than
definitely
it is
not.
power.
No, it's definitely not as simple.
It's, this is the caveat of the world we live in. And, we have the pleasure of being in first world countries that don't have rolling blackouts on a daily basis, that don't have internet that barely functions, right? So we take it all for granted every single day, myself included. But this just goes to show you that at any moment, something catastrophic can happen that can create mass outage that basically renders you helpless. And somebody at work today, we were talking, he's like, we were talking about smart homes. I'm talking about how, I have so much smart technology in my home. It's insane. And he's like, well, what if the internet goes out? I'm like, well, how often does that happen? Like, sure, we had this outage, but this doesn't happen that often. Like, my power doesn't go out. Like, I can't even remember the last time it went out, right? So, I mean, it's not, these things just don't happen on a regular basis. If they did, then it would be a different scenario.
I remember it went out when we were in the middle of playing some video game once last year.
Yeah. And I had enough battery backup that I didn't even know it went out because all my stuff was on. And I'm like, what is that beeping? Because I have the room dark.
Not that time. Not that time. You just disappeared in the middle of the game. And then you texted me later, my power went out.
Yeah, that was that time though, because I kept playing. The power had been out for like 15 minutes.
Oh, you hadn't told me that part though.
But I didn't know until after the fact. And
yeah. But that happened to me too. And I went like to you. There was a beeping, and normally I'm gaming. I got the headset on. I don't hear the beeping.
Yeah,
that was that tiny quiet part, between whatever we were doing. And I was like, what the hell is that? And I flipped the one ear off, and I looked around and was like, oh, my God, wait a minute. I know that beeping. That's the UPS. And I remember telling you I had to frantically, I got to shut stuff down so I can at least have internet for the night. Because I didn't know how long it was going to be out. And that power ended up being out for 2 days that day. We didn't have power for 2 days. So, yeah, that wasn't like that big major blackout. It just happened to be an ironic. I think a bird made a nest or something, and it took out power in another city. And for some reason, the one block I live on, just this block, no other block, is trunked from that, as opposed to the one 4 miles away. Yeah. Everyone else in the neighborhood is trunked to the one 4 miles away.
Yeah, we do live in a precarious time only because if things like this happen, it does create a lot of problems. But again, because the countries we live in, we just don't have to deal with these daily things. I mean, it's so far in few and in between. It just doesn't matter. To me, it's just not a concern. Yeah, if the power goes out, if my internet goes out, it's a real pain. It's a hassle. But I know within a short period of time, even if it's 1 or 2 days for some major weather catastrophe.
Well, the thing is that a lot of people have got battery backups and generators and those portable battery things that you can plug stuff into and get like an hour worth of a power saw while charging your phones for 5 hours. And if you only use them to charge phones and maybe plug your modem in to get internet, you could go like 12 hours with them. These are not the same as UPS. They're the ones you actually have to charge up. But you can get them, and they're like, like yay big and weigh about
they actually fit.
pounds.
They actually connect into your electrical panel in your home.
No, not those ones. I'm just talking about the fully portable ones. People take them camping. If you just plug your modem and charge phones and stuff like that. Maybe a plug-in radio so that you don't have to waste batteries off it. Stuff like that. You can get like 12, 13 hours off of some of those things. But
even the small $49 APCs I put on my modems and access points and all that, if my power goes out, I have internet for probably a good 2 hours.
Oh, mine's even longer. If I turn everything else off, I can get about 6 hours of, or not 6 hours.
Well, you got a big 750, I think, on yours, right? It's a big stand-up one.
1500
or 1500. Yeah. So see, these are like 450s that I have.
Yeah.
So, but that's all I really need. I mean, it's
Well, the internet, the modem is actually on the 450, so it only does about a couple of hours or something like that. But I turn the TV off right away. There's just no way. But I keep I don't even keep the light on for that anymore. I used to get LED. I could turn it. I could put it down to like 10% just so I have some light, and it wouldn't take up that much. But I look at it and I've noticed that it still takes up enough that it drains a little faster than I want it to. But it's not that bad because, again, like you said, if it's just the modem, you got at least a couple of hours on the one you have, and those ones are relatively inexpensive.
Yeah, super cheap. So
I highly recommend.
Just I guess the moral of this story is, you can spend a few dollars. Like these are like $30 to $50. Power your modem, power your router, your access point, and you can have internet and power outages.
And if you
because more than likely, the source of your internet, like whether you have cable, whether you have fiber, wherever from your house to where it goes, they're on battery backup, or they still have power because it's far away. So the chances of you being down is slim. Even when we had all those tornadoes that one year, it actually hit a city that's 15 minutes from me, did a lot of damage, took a lot of electrical poles down. I never even lost power. So
I experienced something similar when we had that string of tornadoes up in Barrie and in the surrounding area around there several years back. And it was the same year. I think there were like 3 water spouts over Lake Ontario that day. It was at one point within a span of about 45 minutes, there was at least 2 water spouts / tornadoes to the south over Lake Ontario. At least 2 in the Barrie area, including one that went right through Barrie, and a couple other weak ones that passed through, and several funnel clouds that didn't touch down. And yet, through all of this massive storm that went on for about 4.5 hours, I think I lost power for maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And nothing else was really an issue. It came back on. Phone work.
Well, but the reason why I say there was a guy I used to communicate with that he lived in Pakistan, and I met him actually on Google Plus, and he's a web designer, and so we chatted quite a bit, and every so often he would just disappear, and then he'd come back online. When I asked, I said, "Why do you just all of a sudden suddenly just disappear?" He's like, "Oh, we have blackouts all the time." I'm like, "Oh man, I'm sorry." He's like, "No, it's like that's the way life is. That's the way it happens. They do this on purpose because they don't have enough power to support the grid 24/7 every single day. So they have to do these rolling blackouts to make sure they have enough power for, facilities that need power 24/7. So
listen, speaking of power and whether you have enough of it 24/7, the entire Toronto area, including the greater Toronto area with the several other cities, every summer when it's really hot, they're always complaining that it's getting worse and how are we going to get through this and blah, blah, blah. And you don't hear a lot of people complaining about the nuclear site. We need another nuclear plant. In all honesty, we need another one. But that said, with all of that, no one is raising any concerns over the massive data center being built in Etobicoke right now, which is probably almost as big as the one being built across, near you. So,
well, you remember a few years back, and I still hear stories because I still have friends that live in Texas. But there's one of the largest Texas utilities is a co-op. It has no government sponsorship. Like, it's all co-op.
Really?
And yeah, and they're always having problems of maintaining proper power levels in extreme heat and extreme cold.
Yeah.
And I remember one winter it got really, really unusually cold in the area, which they don't used to, getting snow and ice and all that.
By the way, when he says unusually cold, he makes it sound like it's like really nasty. But if you're from someplace like Winnipeg or Calgary, he means like you're walking around, with a T-shirt. I'm exaggerating. Go on. What are you doing?
All this power talk, something just popped somewhere. I was like, what is that?
Oh, no.
Anyways. No, I mean, power is still on, but yeah, weird. Anyways. Well, yeah, so.
Jinx it.
No. So, I just, I don't know. We got off topic and all, but it's wrapped up anyways. So I guess we'll just, it's a good time to transition off into the close.
That's right.
Yeah,
I want to say again, though, thank you so much to our viewers, our listeners. The audience has been growing. You guys have been great. We want to start seeing some comments. Start
yeah, and if there's something you want us to cover,
give us a suggestion.
Let us know.
Hey, and you know what? What the heck? Now that we've hit 100, let us know if you'd like to be a guest on the program. Yeah, we might entertain that idea. Let's see if you got something you want to talk about. Let's give that a shot too. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I am Lionel. I am in Toronto, Canada.
And I am Robert, and I am in Nashville, Tennessee. And we'll see you next week. Peace.